I'm the one dying, dying, dying. Brr, 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 brr. Brr, 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 brr. Boom, 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 boom. Oh snap. Oh snap, nap, nap. Oh snap, snap. Let's see. The owner's child. I could do that. I kissed a boy and I liked it. The taste of his cherry chapstick. Haha. Bum 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 ba da da da. I'ma do. I don't know what I should do. Which one should I do? I don't know which one to do. The owner's child. I'ma do that one because, like, yes, it was a lousy. I'm dying. It was a lousy. I'm about to kill myself. I don't like it. But it. I can't speak. Hold on. Let me take a bite of my cereal. Can I talk now? Okay, yeah. Kind of. It was a lousy Monday. Everyone was playing around or being bored. Like me. A lefty told some jokes while AI Afton was watching Milton, making sure he didn't do anything. Elizabeth and Helpy were playing soap opera. Elizabeth had her stuffed animals while Helpy, of course, had her ducks. Some paper were piled around here. Some of them had child insurance. But what would an AI do with child insurance? That was something she needed to find out. Brian was running late again. He had taken a break off of work for 4 weeks. 4 weeks. Oh my god. Derpy had to watch the pizzeria. No one knew why, but Brian didn't return. But when Brian did return, he would be stressed out or looked like he didn't get any sleep. Wonder why. Derpy was walking in looking what seemed to be an empty bottle, bib, and a pacifier. She put it in her bag while she went into Brian's office. Quickly, she looked panicked and stressed, but relieved that when she saw the papers. "Helpy, may I have those papers?" she asked nicely, tapping her on the shoulders. Yeah, sure, Derpy." Helpy handed Derpy Chan the papers. She put them in her bag before waving at the others. She smiled and she left the building. Lefty and Moulton were talking. Happy found it suspicious why Derpy had those, but Laura was also quite curious. Since those were baby supplies, she only knew that since she was a mother of 3. She was and is a mother of 3. Puppet was staring at the vending machine, practically begging for it to give her gummy bears, even though she couldn't eat it anyway. Moulton jumped slightly when he heard a loud bang coming from an entrance. He opened the doors to see the owner, exhausted from running. Brian was also holding an empty bottle, but he placed it in his pockets. "You're late again," Moulton had said as he picked the owner up onto his feet with his wires. "I know, I was just busy." Brian knew he was lying, but at the same time he was busy. He's been awake all night, barely getting even any minute of sleep. He walked into the pizzeria, ignoring Moulton, but he did mumble something about a kid named Chris. Not the FNAF one. He's gonna be his child, you'll see. Moulton shrugged it off, though, as Moulton's a he. Hello, what? As he jumped into the fence. It has been about an hour. When everyone came out of the portal, they had all been playing mini games. Brian heard a notification on his phone as he walked out of the portal room. He pulled out his phone and unlocked it. He had scrolled through his notifications when he had seen that Durfee had texted him 7 minutes ago. He read it inside as he out. He read it inside as he out it away. What? He had to leave again. He waved everyone goodbye before he walked out. All the animatronics looked at each other before agreeing they were going to follow. All of the animatronics followed Brian home secretly. Brian had stopped by a nice 4-story house. It was light blue, while the door was red, almost like his sweater red. But Brian took out his keys as he bless me, as he unlocked his front door. Carefully, the animatronic walked around the house and peered through the kitchen window. They saw Brian talking to Derpy in the dining room. Derpy handed Brian all the supplies that she had put in her purse earlier. Brian hugged Derpy and waved to her as she walked outside and got into her car. Brian grabbed the pacifier and walked into the room. The animatronics then went to a window where a blue room was. This room was full of toys. Some corners where a dresser was full of a baby boy's clothes. There was a white crib that sat in the middle back wall of the room. Brian smiled as he walked over to the crib, he pulled out a baby boy where he had bare ears and he was part animatronic. He smiled and said, "Don't worry, Chris, Daddy's home." Ooh, 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 snap, 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 snap. Who was hugging? Who is it? Who? Just a sneak peek. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Chill, but. Ticket, shush. It was a late night. As I helped my little boy, his smile made me feel happy. He brought me all my joy and happiness. Without him, I didn't know if I could even be here today. I stared at the ring of my finger, surprised the animatronics didn't ask, or though if this suspicious. I have been married for about 2 years. I had built Chris 3 months ago, but it was too stressful with the pizzeria and him that I had taken a month off last month. If I didn't have Derpy, things would go differently. Derpy has been a big help for me. She got me the bottles and the formulas Chris needed. He may be an animatronic, but he was still alive as much as us. My husband and I may have gotten mixed up in the portal when we were building Chris. That made Chris part human now. Chris had a piece of his father. I'm not just saying his animatronic part. He had one of his beautiful eyes. He had freckles. Even his little smile and ears. I would never give up my little Chris. If I could, I would give up my own life. I still have my little bear. He was snuggled in my jacket as we watched cartoon Mickey Mouse, ? I think it is the name. I would sometimes sit right by the TV and he would just watch babbling and giggling at the TV. This always made me smile, but right now he was fast asleep, snoring a tiny bit, which was adorableness. I know a lot of people say this about babies, but they really do look adorable when they sleep. I was talking to Derpy-chan earlier if I should bring my little Chris to the pizzeria and show the others, but honestly I don't trust him there. Or at least not with Afton and Moulton. If he ever found out I was married to an animatronic at the pizzeria, or ever had a son, I feel he would use my little Chris or adorable husband against me. Mostly likely me choosing one of them, and moving on. So until further notice, Chris was gonna have to stay in my and Derpy's little secret. The only person that I have ever told was Derpy and Otsa. Honestly, I trust Derpy and Otsa more than John and Ursa. Don't get me wrong, I trust Ursa, but I am not bringing Chris over there and have those killer animatronics kill my baby boy, even if he could come alive. And John is pretty and mentally unstable to trust right now. If I told him I could have a high chance of John slipping it or telling Afton about my baby boy or husband. I honestly do miss my husband, But Molten and Afton destroyed him. Destroyed him one day without not knowing that he was a father to our little boy. Well, enough with the sadness. I stood up and walked over to the kitchen, still holding Chris. I pulled out a bottle from the kitchen and poured some milk into a bottle. I then grabbed the bottle in one hand while Chris was in my other arm. I walked back all the way to his bedroom. I sat Chris down in his crib. I grabbed his little blue baby blanket and covered most of him. Okay, I then set the bottle next to him and fed him until he fell asleep, still holding the bottle. I giggled at that a little bit before kissing him on the forehead. Good night, my little Chris. Maybe next week I'll bring you to work. I walked out of his room and closed the door a little, making sure it wouldn't wake him up. My room was right by it, just in case anything happened at nighttime. I walked into my room and took off my sweater. I changed into my PJs, which had bunny slippers. Bunny slippers and bunny pajamas. Yes, bunnies. Chris decided to get them from me. That little goofball. I flopped onto the bed tiredly, hoping this time I'll get sleep. I doubt that, though. Chris has been getting nightmares lately. Kind of scared me, since he would see a green mean bunny man and weary man killed Daddy, or well, me. That scared me, but hopefully they were just nightmares. That can't ever happen, or can it? I looked over at my dresser and saw a photo. It was me with my husband with our child. I smiled at it sadly. Part of the picture was ripped off of Chris and mine's. I ripped it off because I couldn't bear looking at my husband's face every night. He had died by Molten and Afton, and that devastated me and Chris. Even if Chris didn't understand exactly that his father was dead, he had died when Chris was only 2 months old, so he died a month ago. I had taken a break that month, grieving. I don't know what that says. I couldn't stand going to a place where I always seen my husband happy and healthy. I was his little queen after all. I miss him so much. I grabbed the picture and smiled at Chris. He looked so happy, like you know that happy. He was like beyond the hill. He was so happy. One thing that will never change. He will never get hurt. I'll make sure of it. But I want to see who the husband was. I wonder who the husband was. The odd photo album. 2 days after following Brian home. All the animatronics were quiet. Ever since they learned about the little boy Brian had held, they treated Brian different. Brian also acted different. He acted like an overprotective mother to everyone, especially Baby and Helpy, since they were the smallest. Baby wasn't playing her soap opera. Instead, she's been writing some things in her tiny notebook she was given a while ago from Brian. Helpy was on her computer, figuring out who Brian could have a relationship with. Helpy hates Cutie. Had noticed a couple days ago the ring that Brian held. It was definitely a wedding ring. Brian had a wife or husband, most likely husband since he's well gay. Derpy has also been more protective of Brian since she didn't talk Or baby Molten. What? I'm so confused. Molten just watched from the ceiling while playing Minesweeper. Lefty has also been quiet. 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 That's not how you spell quiet. Quiet. Quit. Brian was in his office filling out some paperwork while Derpy was cleaning all the fire cabinets. She stumbled upon 4 photos. Brian, you might want these. Derpy Chan handed the phone to Brian. Handed Brian the photos. Brian smiled and said thank you before putting the four photos into his desk drawers. He pulled out his keys and locked the drawer. He then put the keys on the door hooks. Derpy and Brian both grabbed their belongings before walking the office door. Walking the office door. Brian had to get home to his baby boy. Wow. Oh, I really didn't have to do that, but okay. Well, Derpy had to get back to her establishment, and of course also little brother both had to get back home. I think he's actually the big bro, but that's fan fiction logic. Brian glared at Afton and Molten as he grabbed some bottles from the freezer. He put them in his back pocket before grabbing a wrench and some metal scraps from the workshop. He put all the supplies into his backpack before waving bye to everyone. Okay. That happened. It has been an hour since Ryan left. I honestly admit I hate when he has to leave. That means Dad and Molten can do whatever they want, or we don't have someone to play mini games with. I look over at the office and wonder if there is some stuff I could use for my soap opera. I walked over to the door, jumping up and down for the keys, but I couldn't reach. Helpy came over and asked if she could help me. Helpy climbed onto my head. Using one of my pigtails, she jumped on my head while grabbing the keys. After about 5 minutes, Helpy had gotten the keys. Surprised no one questioned us. We definitely looked suspicious. Thank God, Dad. What? And his little pet weren't here. Thank God. Oh. Dad and his little pet weren't here. Helpy and I unlocked the office door quietly, making sure no one heard us. Not that it mattered, since we looked way too suspicious and stupid. Surprisingly, the office was clean and organized. Helpy grabbed another pair of keys. I looked around, spotting a locked drawer on Brian's desk. I walked over, pulling out a key of a little bear. Why does Brian like bears so much? I opened up the drawers and pulled out 4 photos. Who is this person? And is that Derpy and also with the pink hair? But who are the people with brown hair? And also, why is it ripped off? The picture was ripped a little. Brian was in a white running suit, while the person in a black running suit. Derpy and Otso were there, all dressed up. Well, Otso was fanboying. It seemed Brian's parents were there, too. Oh, okay. The husband was ripped from the picture, which was odd. It was labeled wedding picture. This one was our little boy. It was a picture of Brian, who we assume was his husband, but again, his husband was ripped from the photo. His husband was holding who I assume was the little boy Brian held 2 days ago. Again, Derpy and Elsa were there. What? Why is it just the head? The head that is legit torn apart. Like, I want to know who the person is. This one was around last December. Brian was holding his baby while, again, his holder was ripped from the photo. Why are they ripped? And why is he wearing a rabbit? Why does he have rabbit ears? Oh, that's his bunny pajamas. Oh. Helpy and I stopped looking at the photos when Brian came running and panicking as he was holding his little boy Otso, and Derpy also scared as they were right behind. Where is Afton? So this won't come out till tomorrow. I mean, like, it already came out, so, like, it's not really my fault. After all, Derpy and I were just walking back to my place. We were just chatting as I was looking through old papers and files I had grabbed from my desk. Most of these papers were Chris's insurance and some random hospital bills, but you don't have to know about the hospital bills. They're not important. They're not important. Derpy and I continued to talk as she got a phone call. I'm sorry, Brian, but it's Otso. I need to call him back real quick. Call out real quick.
Is your bathroom fan on?
Derpy pulled out her phone and reading. Shut up. Derpy pulled out her phone and redialing her brother's number. I stood there waiting a little bit. I was still holding papers and empty bottles. Man, Chris sure did like this formula Derpy got him. She's almost like a sister to me. Her and Otso, Derpy walked back over sighing. She gave me full bottle for Chris and put her phone in her bag. Hey Brian, I'm sorry I gotta go home. Otso made another toaster blow up and needs help toasting another sandwich again. Oh, that's alright, Derpy. Sandwiches are very important. Are you sure about that? Really? What? Whoa. Okay, Brian. Never mind. I giggled before Derpy and I departed our ways. I walked home and unlocked my door. I went to the kitchen and put a bottle on my fridge. I walked into the room, peeking and making sure everything was alright. Chris was asleep on his crib, hugging his toy duck. I had asked Helpy for a duck for a friend, or more like I stole it. Doesn't really matter. She has a whole pond of ducks. She can't buy anymore. I canceled that account since I needed the money to raise and make sure Chris is okay. I giggled as I walked to my room, tiredly. I changed into a white crop top with a golden crown. I put on a golden crown because, like, I'm special like that. Yeah. And just tied my sweater on my waist. I then just flopped onto bed unaware that someone was in my house. They came in, they were just like, walk, 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 step, step, step. It's my house now. Get wrecked. It was around 2 when I heard Chris started to cry. I got up and went to the kitchen exhausted, thinking Chris was having another episode with his nightmares. I walked to the kitchen, opened up the fridge, still hearing Chris crying. I poured a bottle of formula before walking upstairs. I was turning. Chris was still sobbing. Shh, I'm here, sweetie, don't cry. I froze, dropped the bottle. The floor was spilled as the ball cap broke. I didn't care right now. In front of me stood Springtrap Moulton. Moulton was holding my baby as Chris was sobbing badly, clearly terrified of Moulton. I walked all the way in anger. I had fear this would happen one day. Put him down, Moulton. Put him there. I had my hands up in a fist as I didn't have a gun Freddy gave me. It terrified me that Moulton knew about Chris, mostly Afton though. Let go of Chris! Moulton! Put him there! Oh, why so mad, Brian? Moulton cooed. As he was holding Chris in his arms. Excellent. He had his hands under Chris's chin, smirking as he suddenly showed his large teeth. We came to visit. Also, why does Springtrap look like a human? he legit. Chris was still scared half to death too. I wanted to do was grab my baby and hold him instead of that monster, but then I yelled, "You're not welcome here. Leave him alone." Afton looked annoyed as he looked at Chris. Moulton just smirked his toothy grin. Moulton just smirked his toothy grin. Scared Chris even more. Aw, quite rude to your guest, Brian. I'm quite upset. Why are you Chris babbled scaredly as more tears rolled down as he tried to reach for his mother. Brian is the mother. It's okay, Chris. I'm here. Daddy is right here. I knew I had to be careful if I was they could hurt. If you want me to leave you alone, I can, but please put Chris down. Leave him out of this mess. I had started a little still afraid. How rude to treat us like this. What do you mean? He said please. What do you mean? It doesn't make no sense. You make no sense. You're just like, yeah, no, sorry, man. Like, you can't do that right now because, like, that's not how you treat a guest. Even though I said please. But if I said please, that means I'm treating you correctly. Oh, well, I could just keep him to myself. Moulton smirked at me as he held Chris like a baby doll. His head now laid on his hands as Chris was in a laying position facing Moulton as he cried, "Moulton, please leave Chris alone." All I wanted was him to put Chris back in it. All I wanted was to meet the new member of the group. Quite the charmer, isn't he? Moulton smiled evilly as he looked at Chris, who was still terrified and sobbing. Third person point of view. Bang. Bang, bang. Bang, bang. Chris! Springtrap stood behind Brian as he shut Brian in the bag carefully to make sure he didn't die, but enough to injure him. Moulton threw Chris in the air before him and Afton disappeared. Brian jumped in the air, still bleeding, as he grabbed Chris. Brian! Oh, not, sorry. Derpy was behind him along with those. Crash! Brian crashed into the bookshelves as he held Chris from the impact. He was saying soft and soothing words to Chris. Chris was crying, terrified and uncontrollably. Brian was so worried, but he didn't care. I got you. Don't worry. Don't worry. Bummy's here. Shush. Don't talk. I said don't talk. There's no need to worry anymore. The bad guys are gone. You're safe, I promise. I totally promise, you know? I promise all my life. Oh. But you don't know how to play games. I ain't playing these games. Please get the X here. Thank you. I don't know. Okay.